We are joined, as always, every Thursday by our behavioral change specialist, Johanse Ayudike. And today we touch on a topic that many try to avoid, the sweep under the carpet, and that is suicide. I'm watching via some notes. Every year, over 700,000 people take their own life, and there are many more who attempt suicide. It's a tragedy that impacts families, communities, the workplace, entire countries, and there are long-lasting impacts and effects to all those who are left behind. Johanse, this is a tough one, but it's one that must be addressed. We look at suicide, and it seems a bit far-fetched for many, but there are those who would have been taken to the edge, whether it's a financial strain, emotional turmoil from a breakup. So many different things cause people to put their mind in that particular place. Where do we even start, Johanse, when we discuss this issue of suicide?
We can start by addressing exactly what you were saying before, in terms of, is a topic we want to shy away from or even escape from, because each one of us, and this is my opinion and working from clients, this is what I've seen. What drives people to suicide or even have suicidal ideations is wanting to avoid or not having the tools to be able to deal with whatever life stressors they may have. And the fact of even wanting to escape doesn't empower us in any way. And as a Trinidadian, and you would know also that we Trinidadians have many methods of escape instead of dealing with the situation head on. So we may make a joke. We have things like, some people use carnival, use Christmas, use alcohol, gambling, etc. to escape from it. And with COVID and the pandemic, when a lot of those avenues of escape was taken away, right, we had a lot more, at least in my instance, in my practice, I had a lot more instances of people reporting feeling suicidal, or even parents reporting that their children, their relatives, etc., started reporting suicidal ideations or even behaviors.
What about people who are chronically ill? They are terminal. They have been given literally, I don't want to say a death sentence, but the doctors basically are saying to them, nothing can be done. And in their mind, they have already come to terms with the fact that, you know what, I'm on my way out. How do we talk to that person and allow them to go in its natural timing, the timing that is ordained by whoever they subscribe to as a creator, as opposed to saying, you know what, doctors say 3 weeks, I'm gonna end it today?
Everyone's lives have value. And even if you have, as you were saying, a terminal illness and you have a set time to be alive, your life in some way has value. So I would say to that person, or even if you have a relative that has a terminal illness or a friend, etc., to help them find value in what they have. Everyone has something to contribute. Even if, let's say, you have a terminal illness and you can't walk, you could use your voice, you could use your presence. There's something always in our lives that have value.
Yeah. What about the vulnerable groups? Because I still recognize, even though there is this move towards acceptance, and you're seeing all the different adverts on TV and the parades, and they have been given an entire month, we still see people from that LGBTI community, those who still in so many countries are on the fringes of society, you know, taking their lives. How do we deal with and speak to those who feel a bit on the edge, feel they're not being accepted because of their lifestyle? These vulnerable communities, even refugees too. You know, you look at refugees, indigenous people. They are vulnerable people still within the community who see the only way out as a suicide. How do we get them away from that?
Well, one, Jason, all of us in some way are vulnerable. None of us are perfect. And depending on where you are in life, your vulnerability comes in a different manner. Because yes, there are certain communities that struggle with identity, I think all of us at one point struggle with identity, and we could say one section or one group is more vulnerable than the next. And what I would tell them is still find value, because even though you're different, and the truth is all of us are different, none of us are the same, even if we try to conform, right? We are all different. Find value in that and build resilience. Now, resilience is important. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or stressors. And based on your upbringing, where you live, what you identify as, it will have different kinds of stressors. But understanding exactly what is required for you to overcome this, because life, and this is my experience of it, life is not a fair place. Life, as much as we may want certain things, that's not the reality of life. And learning how to accurately deal with it is what empowers us and takes us away from suicidal ideations.
Yeah. I want to find out about those who go down the road of trying to make someone feel bad. So the suicide option is really to activate a feeling in someone who probably you're trying to regenerate some sense of love, some sense of affection. The person is denying you that, and you're going to go into that place, that dark place of, you know what, I'll do something to myself to make you feel bad. How do we get somebody out of that mindset?
Well, we could try. This is an attempt, because at the bottom line is we can't control what anyone does. We could give them support, we could give them love, we could give them understanding. And understanding why. So if they decide, if you don't love me, if you don't stay with me, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself, etc. One, give them as much support as you can that is still loving to you, because you are also a person, and it's not good for you to imprison yourself in something that you don't want to be. And if you can give that person support in a healthy way, or even find support for that person in a healthy way that still has you staying in your grace, then go ahead. But if that person insists and it starts to degrade your mental health now, honestly, you cannot control what they do, and don't keep yourself in a prison.
What advice you give to someone who is dealing with said suicide, a parent, ex-lover? Again, we're not calling on it at all, because 700,000 people a year is too much. One is too much. But for those who now have to deal with it, the person, okay, they went all the way. They do this, boy? Oh goodness, she do this? And now there is this sense of guilt, the sense of, you know what, boy, I probably could have done more. I really should have go across. I probably could have just stayed with them. How do we even talk to the survivors now, those who are having to deal with someone who really goes into that extremely dark place?
This is a difficult one, because we love someone, we will always think what we could have done. And even though I may speak something, this is where it is easier said than done, because when we are connected to someone and they choose to take their own life, we always wonder, what if? And one way is, again, this is easier said than done. Accept. We're going to accept first. Accept the fact that the person did this, and you could not control their actions at all. Even if, let's say, you were mean to them maybe the day before, it's not your meanness that made them do anything. Now, you may think, well, I probably contributed this if I was nicer, you never know, because sometimes when they already decide to take their lives, you could be the nicest person to them. Sometimes that may not make a difference, especially if they already made the decision. So one, I would say, accept that you couldn't control them. Also, to seek support, things like counseling in terms of your own spiritual or religious beliefs, hold on to that. Seek family support, because if someone dies in a family, most likely it's not one person affected, it's a group. So use each other as that support. And also, seek even other people who are going through this, and speak to them and see, what are their experiences. But one thing I would say, don't isolate yourself. Seek as much support as possible. There's so many ways to get support, and even if one avenue of support is 2%, then as many as you do, you get at least to 10 to 50% level of support.
Yeah, I take what you're saying basically is don't hold it in. Don't hold yourself up responsible,
Yeah,
you know. Seek help. There's nothing wrong seeking help.
And anybody call, there's the Ministry of Health has a hotline, there's Lifeline, there's so many. Call me, call somebody. I even had an experience, someone was suicidal and they just dial a number and they spoke to a stranger and tell the stranger what was going on. And the stranger wasn't any counselor or anything, but they give them a positive word. Just seek anything, because if you reach the point where you're ready to die, ready to take your own life, then you have nothing to lose. So just call somebody, anybody.
I want to thank you, your answer. This is one that I guess we could always do a part two, a very important discussion. I want to thank you for the advice. For those looking on this morning who might be in a dark place, I trust some of what was said, or most of what was said this morning, could impact, it could change your decision, it could help you cope and continue living, because every day creates a new possibility. And, you know,
Correct.
we have to live, we have to love, and keep pushing on.
And whatever religious or spiritual beliefs you have, you know, you can hold on to that also. And even if you have none, there's a theory. Yeah. Hold on to it.
Well said. You want to say, have a safe one, man, and we look forward to more. God spare.
All right. Thanks, man. Everybody have a good day.
Yes, inside the Mental Health Matters. I love this segment, you know. You see Thursday. This segment, we get a chance to really open up and really just pour our heart out and ask some serious questions and bring up the hard topics. But they must happen. We must discuss them. That's the only way we grow and we learn. Let's move into some business after. The business guardian, Curtis Williams, joins us to give us details inside this week's edition. See you soon.